and welcome back. We are focusing on maps in this art camp segment, I guess you could say. Last time we learned about and made our own legends with our own beautiful drawings to show what's important in our cities. We have Michael, Andre, and John helping us and showing us what we can do. Today we are going to make our very first map, which will look something like this, but I hope yours looks a little bit better than mine. But what we're going to do first is you need to get out this piece of paper. There are two, yeah, but I want you to get the one that says, before COVID-19, I spent ... Okay, so go into your grab and go packets and pull this out to work on now. So this is going to be about when you're going to school every day, you're hanging out with your friends before we had to change our lifestyle for COVID-19. So I want you to get this out. And I want you to use your legend, to help you answer or finish these sentences. So the first one is, before COVID-19, I spent most of my time at, and then you put your answer. So I said, I spend most of my time at the home of somebody I love. So that's what we put first, or whatever you want to do. But you're going to use these icons, these images and drawings that you made to answer these questions, okay? To fill these sentences. Some of these will have multiple answers or many answers. So for example, none of my time, I put 2 answers because I don't spend any time at my doctor's. And I don't spend any time at the home of my animal. So it's okay if there are multiple, but just make sure you only have 1 or 2 at the very top. Michael, Andre, and John are going to do some examples so we can see how we can do it. So go ahead, take time, pause the video, and complete this paper. Okay, so now that we're done with this, I'm going to ask Michael, Andre, and John to tell us a little bit about how they spend their time, or how they spent their time before COVID-19. So, Michael, where did you spend most of your time before COVID-19?
Before COVID-19, I spent most of my time at my house.
Okay, where did you spend some of your time?
I spent some of my time at my favorite park and at my favorite swimming spot.
Very good. Okay. Andre, before COVID-19, where did you spend most of your time?
Most of my time, Savannah, was spent at my mom's house and restaurants.
Oh, okay. Very good. And before COVID-19, where did you spend less of your time?
Less of my time was spent at the doctor's office.
Good. Very good. All right, John, before COVID-19, where did you spend most of your time?
Most of my time was probably at the office, at work. Okay. And I don't really have that, but the community center is my work, so I just put that in there.
Good, anyway. Good. And where did you spend a lot of your time?
A lot of my time I had home, parks generally, and EBQ baths.
Very good. So, all right, thank you guys.
My water spot. Yeah.
Your water spot, your swimming spot. All right, so now we actually get to draw, and so this is very exciting. Each of you should have gotten a piece of paper in your grab and go, but if you want to use a bigger paper like me, or if you want to use smaller paper like Andre, whatever size paper is totally fine. Just whatever you want to use to draw your map. So, the first thing we're going to do to start drawing our map is we have to draw the big landmarks so we know where we are. For my map, my big landmarks, so I know where I am, were the volcanoes, the mountains, my 2 big roads, which were I-40 and San Mateo, and the river. And if you look at my legend, you can see they match. Some of my volcanoes are red triangles, my mountains are brown triangles, my river is blue, and my road are little dashes. So we are going to use our legend to first only draw our big landmarks. So take a few minutes and draw those. let's look at these maps for a minute. This is John's. Can you explain it very quickly what we're looking at?
River, volcanoes, mountains, roads.
Perfect.
San Mateo, highways.
Beautiful, great. So this is our very basic map. This is just so we know where we are. Now we're going to use both of these papers to make our map. When you're looking at this paper and you see this first box where it says where you spend most of your time, when you go to draw on your map, I want this image to be the biggest one on your map, okay? So if we look at mine, I said I spend most of my time at the home of somebody I love, which is a brown little house, yeah? On my map, it's a really big brown house. Our house is actually that big? No. But I want to show that this is where I spent most of my time, okay? And then at the very bottom, I spend none of my time at the home of my favorite animal, which I drew a giraffe. And so my giraffe is very, very, very little because I spend almost no time there, or none of my time. So on your map, I want you to draw the biggest things with the most time, the smallest with the least amount of time, and then everything else in the middle. Okay, pause the video and take a few minutes to draw on your maps. So now that you have your first map, let's look at them and discuss some of the best places and most important places on your maps. First, we will have Michael tell us a little bit about your map.
Okay. So, my house is where I spent most of my time before COVID. So my house is here and it's huge. And I spent almost no time at my doctor's office. So it's a tiny little place right there. And I also spent less of my time at my grocery store. So that little thing is small too. And I spent some of my time at my favorite park. So there's a ball here, kind of medium-sized. But I also went to another park, so I have two, actually.
Good, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, John, would you like to talk a little bit about yours?
Sure. I think I spent most of my time at work, and I only had a community center here that represented kind of like my work. So I put in all our community centers in the county, and those spots kind of actually off the map, but I put it down at the bottom. So that's probably where I spent the majority of my time. My home, the co-op, and UNM North golf course were pretty important. So was Amy Cubaz. The rest of everything is kind of small, including, I didn't spend much time up in the foothills at all. But yeah, and I was interested that most of my life is kind of clustered in the downtown area, which is kind of interesting.
Good.
So.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Andre, would you like to share a little bit about yours?
Yes, absolutely. So before COVID-19, I spent most of my time at my favorite restaurants eating taco burgers, spending my free time in the open spaces in the mountains, at our beautiful parks, my mother's house, got to have that good food and clean laundry, and definitely spending it with the community centers. And the places I spent very little time was at the doctor's office and swimming in the Blue Hole.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for all of your beautiful maps, and at home I bet yours are just as beautiful, and I can't wait to maybe see some submissions from you all. So that's the end of this module, but remember to save this and save your map because we will need both of these for the next module. Okay, thank you so much and see you next time.